Well, hello, my YouTube fellas and gals. It has been a minute. Since I have been able to do a live. First, I was sick, and then I got caught up in holiday because my hubby had time off, so we spent some time doing things. So, I left off with showing you a hardback that I had disassembled. Hey, John. Hey, NN. How was your Thanksgiving? Did you have a good one? And welcome, NN. Let me get your channel added here. Here is John's link. I had a good one too. I had to make 8 pies, John. Oh. Here's John's link. He don't have a channel, but you can still add him in case one day he changes his mind. You get some of your links started. Hey, Cherise. Hey, Kyle. I feel bad because I got behind. So here is NN Pets. Let me get Kyle's link in here. Try not to post your own links. Backtrace that link, Kyle. Or is that not yours? Yeah. Take your link out. I don't want people to post their own links. I'll do it or have somebody else do it for you because you lose subscribers when you post your own link. And here is Kyle's channel. Thank you, Kyle. Because I don't want people, that I lost 40 subscribers because I wasn't here. 40. I think that's the most I've lost at once since I've been on here. I was like, what the heck? I'm trying to make it to 3K and I ended up losing 40 of them. I was getting close to my 3K and it just went poof. So I don't know what happened, but that's crazy. Here's Sharice's link. Yeah, I don't want to cost any subscribers. And for people that come in, I don't have problems with emojis. Don't use emojis. And then please don't do that. That's spamming. If you're going to have a chat, this is what a live stream is for, is so people can talk to each other, not to use emojis back and forth. If you use the emoji like at the end of a sentence or a hello in an emoji, I don't have a problem with that, but don't just do emojis because the whole point is communication when you're in live streams. Just to let you know, because I will take your moderator away from you and I will retract your emojis and I will block you if I have to tell you again. I don't like being real strict on my channel, but I don't see the point of just going into someone's live stream and that's all you do is use emojis. I come from Yahoo, where I ran a chat room for 6 years. I never had anybody in a chat room ever just use emojis when they wanted to have conversations with people. They actually communicate with sentences. And I know that there's networking streams that actually get emoji spammers. And sometimes I don't like the networking streams for picking up those type of people. I would rather people come into my stream that actually want to talk or chat. That's just my preference. But anyways, I had been sick and then my hubby had some time off. So he had 4 days off, which was so nice. So we get to take a vacation time together. He usually works 2 weeks and doesn't have a day off. Then works 2 more weeks and has a day off. So we hardly ever see each other. It's probably why we make it so long. But anyways, I did not get to finish journals, and I feel bad if anybody's out there following my live stream and you were counting on me to get journals done before Christmas. I'm sorry, because I was hoping that mine were done on time too, but that was not in my plans. So, because I know people like to make journals for gifts for people, but this is like a basic way of doing journals to teach people how to do them if you want to make them for yourself. You don't have to make these writing journals. They can be glue books. They can be collage books. They can be anything you want. You can use any kind of paper in these. Coffee dyed, tea dyed, store-bought, watercolor. You could even turn them into painting journals if you want to. I like journals for lists, and I like journals for writing in, just because I'm a journaler. And sometimes I like glue books too. I did my first glue book, and it's a lot of fun because you can pick a page and just do what is on your mind for the day. You can use junk mail to do them. I know, Kyle. I saw that. That is so cool. Okay, hold on a second. I'm going to have to remove these emojis because I asked you not to use emojis. We had a person in here who apologized, but I ended up blocking them. I'm going to have to block people and unsubscribe from your channel. So please, no emojis. You can use as many emojis as you want as long as they're in a conversation. I don't know why people can't listen. I really don't. And I I have been in them, like live streams with, they do nothing but spam the whole time. And it's like, why? YouTube created emojis to decorate when you're talking to people. They created the live streams for people to talk to one another. You cannot communicate through emojis. Communications is text. Oh my gosh. I know. It's like, it's crazy. But there's other streamers that allow it, and then it confuses them when they come into streams where people actually want to get to know people. I want to get to know people that comes to visit my stream with conversations and in my comment sections. I don't want to see emojis, and I don't want to see, hi, I'm from so-and-so's channel. I use it in a conversation. Say something about the person's content. That's what counts on YouTube. is when you comment something about the video. So if you want to say, hey, I'm coming from James Gype stream. I really like this that you unboxed, or this makeup look you do, or something like that. Add more to your sentences. That's what counts on YouTube. Not people just saying, hi, I'm a new friend from James Gype or somebody's networking stream. And that's all they say. And then you never see them again. It's like they come and show support to show James they're showing support, but you're not doing nothing for my channel if you're not talking to me. You know, because I do that. You know, somebody will recommend a channel and I'll say, hey, I was sent here by so-and-so, but then I comment something about their content. I'll say something like, you know, if they have a drone or if they have camping, I'll say something to that effect because you're giving respect to the actual person who owns the channel. Some of these YouTubers, you can tell when they're newbies because they have no clue what they're doing. Anyways, it's called engaging. So I'm going to craft because I'm going to have to end up stopping promoting, and I really don't want to do that. Because I like people to follow the channels I follow because they're good people, but I don't want you going into their streams doing the same thing you're doing into mine. Spamming stuff. So anyways, I'm going to rebuild the back of this book up some. You can actually make this round, or you can, you know, make it inside here square. But this here is too flimsy to just leave it alone. So I'm going to rebuild it with a little extra cardboard. Yeah, there's a lot of new YouTubers coming out every day and they have no clue. Especially when you're trying to get monetized, that it's your content. Like, I don't care about monetization, but it's better to converse with people. And I try to teach people the correct way so that you don't get blocked from someone else, or because I've been in streams, trust me, I know this. I've been in streams where I said hello one time to the person in the, you know, the host. I said hello, put their name and put a hug face in with a heart, and automatically Nightbot blocked me from the stream. And that was even using it in a conversation, because there's some streamers that don't like emojis at all. I love emojis. I was the emoji queen on Yahoo because I like putting in, hey, Sandy, hug and smiley. Hey, Cherise, hug and smiley. I have no problem when they're used with words. That's it. But I will not use them by themselves. Sandy. There's my sassy Sandy. See, like that kind of use of emojis is fine. You're okay, NN. But it's just hard because when you have new people coming into the people that know what to do, it's a sad mixture, because I like making people blue so that people can check your channels out real easy and network. But I have to tell the same person like 5 times and it gets irritating because I'm trying to craft and type and talk. Until you learn how to multitask, it gets rough sometimes. And I know sometimes it's a language barrier too, because I know that there are sometimes we have Philippine people and different people that don't speak English real clear. And that's why they use emojis, but they have to realize that even if you type in another language, that's fine. I like the comment section because they translate other languages so that you can, you know, understand what a person's saying. I know, Kyle, I'm telling you, I can't believe Christmas is almost here. I'm like, I'm not ready. I'm not ready for Christmas to be here yet. It doesn't feel like it. It doesn't feel like it's been long enough. I don't know about you all, but it's like, wow. So what I did is I measured, trying to get in here. And then I'm going to cut. This is just a box. Junk journals are about junk, so you can use stuff that you might be throwing away. And this will go here. And it can go on top or it could go underneath. It doesn't matter with this journal because I'm going to cover it with fabric. So what I try to do is keep it a little bit down from the top and a little bit up from the bottom. Make sure that this is in here. And then I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to glue it. Might have to reopen. I did find a lid for this one since I lost. If I can get it off. Had to take a lid off of another glue bottle. Let me use my handy dandy safety pin since it's clogged again. Only because I had the lid off. Okay. Loveliness tacky glue. So this is a visor organizer box. And we're going to glue this down. And I think this time, because I have it a little larger than the last time I did this. Come on, glue. Ugh, I got to wait for it to drip down here. Come on. I know you're in there. Hey, Squirrels Magnet Fishing and Outdoor. How are you? I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. I had to make 4 pumpkin pies and 4 apple. And what I do is me and my husband keep 1 pie here for ourselves. And then I give 1 each to my mother-in-law. And then at the dinner, that leaves the rest. So I usually leave it for my daughter because she hosts the dinner. And they are good. I love apple pie and pumpkin. Pumpkin's my favorite though. But the apple pie I make, I'm telling you guys, look for McIntosh apples. It's all about the apple. They are so good. You can supplement because sometimes I can't get McIntosh here sometimes. And I think the only other apple I ever use, but they're a little bit more sour than the McIntosh. I have used the Granny apple, but I prefer the McIntosh. So we're going to do this. Smash that piece down in. And I think I'm going to add 1 more piece to this. Over top. It's the right size. Yeah. How many in here watch The Walking Dead? Oh my goodness, I love that show. All the seasons have been out. Now I'm rewatching them and they are so good. Oh, Hannah, she has been on a decorating spree. That is awesome. I was watching her do some of her decorations and she's doing a cute job. Her tree. Oh my gosh, oh, Hannah, was so funny. I was in her stream when she had the topper on her tree. And the tree was crooked. I said, your topper looks drunk over there, Hannah. It was hysterically funny. Me too. But oh my gosh, that was so funny. I told my husband we need a drunk angel on the top of our tree because of your topper. Oh, that was funny. But you look cute over there decorating. It's a lot of fun, isn't it, when you get in the mood? She's too cute. So we're going to take this piece. We're going to make it thicker. Oh my gosh, it's funny. Sometimes I do this with journals and sometimes I don't. It depends on how I'm making them. But this one, definitely. And then when you go to set it up, see how it flattens it more? Of course, it's going to come apart. Of course. You can't have a video where everything works perfect. But anyways, you get the gist. When this makes it firmer when you stand it up. The bottom piece might be a little too wide. Hold on. Let's do it this way. We'll put this one in first. Because you do want it kind of like, you got to watch how you fold it. It's got to fold around what you're doing. So we'll put that one in first. And then we'll just turn this around. So like I said, it's not going to matter if the color shows or not because I'm going to be covering this with fabric. Another thing you can use too is like, somebody sends you a Happy Mail or something. You can use the box, the priority boxes. You can cut them. Yeah, hold on. I'm going to have to cut this just a little more. You see the flaws with the good stuff. This is why I like doing lives, because when you make mistakes, you can fix them. So I'm going to cut this a little thinner so it doesn't catch. Come on. Quit being such a pain. Stick. My glue's like, I haven't made a journal before like this. I mean, really. But when you do book board, when you're doing a book from scratch, then you don't have to do this. Yeah, I got my good blue. I need my Fabri-Tac, so I'm glad I have that in here too. Okay, so we're going to cover that. That's going to dry anyways. Okay, so the fabric I picked that I think will be very cute on this is, I believe I bought this at Christina Kilburn's Creations. Pull some of this off. It's got little Santa Clauses. He's so cute all over the fabric. It looks like he's doing the jig. Okay, so we're going to take this. We're going to open it. And let's see here. Do like this. Or you can do it. Let me see which side I want to use. He's kind of like, seems like all over the place on this. So it really doesn't matter, I guess, which direction to use it in. So we're going to take this salvage off. Got to use my lethal weapon scissors. These are definitely lethal. I've cut my fingers with this twice so far. Cut this off. Okay. Well, let go. So now I'm going to take, because I want a long piece. Take it to about right in here somewhere. I'll do this one a little wider. So, well, wrong scissors. Cut right here. And then you just rip, and rip. Okie dokie. It's kind of frayed on both sides. Okay, so we're going to start here. Let's see something real quick. It's got to be no meat on the inside. Okay. So we're going to put the book upside down. We're going to start about right here. And I'm going to get my Fabri-Tac. Put the lid away from me so I don't lose it. And then we're going to hit here, over. I'll take this all the way down. I might have to do this in the air a little bit. And we're going to wrap it here. And one thing about this, it's got a smell to it, but it's all good. And I'm gonna hold this in the air because I have the bottom glue on already, which I shouldn't have did, but I did it anyways. This is all for the spine purposes. You make sure you get glue down in the grooves. Ooh, this stuff stinks. Powerful glue. It smells like fingernail polish remover, but stronger. But it's great for holding fabric. And then we're going to take it down this way. I'll smooth it out better here in a second. I just want to get it on both sides first. But really, you should have started here with the glue and then laid the fabric and then flipped it over. That way it doesn't stick to your desk. But, you know, I have my moments. I'm definitely not a perfect crafter. Here. Always making mistakes. So then once you got it over like this, then you can go back and make sure that you got it as tight as you want it and that it's lined up. And I like it because when you rip it, you get the little frayed edges. It gives your journal, to me at least, gives it some class to make it look even junkier. And if you want to, I tear a little bit off the sides. You can, if you don't have glue all the way over where you want it, then you can go back. I'll show you in a second. Let me take the rest of this off. I'm going to cut it right here. this out of the way. And then what I like to do is come back through and then finish. Make sure this is, get my bone folder here, down in the creases. I noticed with Restream, I've been using it for a little while now. I like it better than StreamYard. It even has cheaper prices. But now it's wanting to, it let me pick a destination, and now it's wanting to me to charge for my Facebook. So that's a little tip I wanted to share for people if you haven't tried it. Yet. It's not, they didn't say it was a free trial, but apparently it was. So then we're going to flip this back over. And we're going to make sure this is glued more, because I made this wider than expected. I could have pulled that a little tighter, but I can still work with it so it doesn't like wrinkle. But you want to get it down into the creases in your fabric a little tighter around your book. This is going to be hidden though, because I'm going to be putting signatures in it. But this is what the cover will look like. You can even cover the entire cover if you want to with fabric and make a fabric book. I do it halfway just because I think it's neat looking. Oh, look here. Looky here, Crypt. There is a Pegasus on this book, because it's one of those Reader's Digest. Looky there. Thank you. Hey, Nikki. There's beautiful Nikki. I call Crypt Pig. Yeah, so I didn't have to put wings on my horse downstairs. I want more of a sloppy book this time. So then once you get this part done, which like I said, I probably would pull that tighter, you know, if you're going to do a journal, to make sure your fabric's really tight around your bind. But I'm going to do something different this time, because I've done those tight. So I'm going to leave it a little looser and see how this turns out. I like changing up my journals. You never know what I'm going to do to them. I don't have a plan. I just do. So then I'm going to take a piece of my coffee dyed paper. And I'm going to fold it. Hear that crunch? I love coffee dyed paper. It is crunchy. Make sure my ends are even. And I am going to measure with this piece. exactly where it's at. So you have a little bit of an overhang here, and you have an overhang here. So, of course, I don't have a pencil in here when I need it. But all this stuff, oh yeah, I do. It was buried. So I'm going to take over here and mark this right in here. And then I'm going to mark this right here. And this is going to give me the page sizes on this one piece. I'm going to use my handy dandy. This thing is so growing on me. I love this. Somebody had this Fiskars on sale at Macari's. Cheaper than what the original cost, because this is one expensive little sucker. It's an expensive tool. Unless you can catch it on sale. So where I marked it, I'm going to chop that off. Just make sure not to get your fold. And then I'm going to set it here. Make sure it's straight. Pop it down this way. So this is going to be the size I'm going to use. So you don't have to use the cutter if you don't want to. You can cut it by hand. And then this is what it looks like once it's in the journal. You can even look at it on the page. And if you're like me and you can't do things straight sometimes, I'm going to cut this down a little shorter because I want to have it a little under the top and bottom, because when you go to sew your signatures in, you don't want it peeking. So we're going to take this piece and we're going to cut it shorter. About this much shorter. I'll cut it to my satisfaction. So is that short enough? Yep. So that way, when you look at it inside the cover, I'm going to take a little bit more off the edges too. This way. Once I get this piece exactly where I want it, it'll be my example piece. So we're going to cut it about the same amount off this side. There, that's better. So that when you lay it in the book, there you go. You want it exactly inside the book. And these pages can be anything. They can be Christmas magazine pages because it's a Christmas one. They can be book pages out of a regular book. They can be anything you want. You can tear pages out of a spiral book with lines, make it go sideways. You can add, I don't have one in here. I have one in my living room. I have a red doily that that's paper that you can get at the Dollar Tree. You can fold that over this and make it part of the signature to decorate. So right now, I think what I'm going to do, let's see here. How many did I use? Approximately, let me guess. There's a Craftalange for you, Sandy. In a Reader's Digest, you could probably put 3 thick signatures in, or you can do 4 signatures. Like I did this one. I put 4 signatures in this one. So I told Sandy, I told her I can't pile anything. Every time I pile stuff, hold on, I have a craft lunch. What else fell? I got stuff everywhere. Okay. This journal I had made before I took my break. This was out of a file folder, a hanging folder. And I took the hanging folder and I cut it. I bought these off of Michelle Scott sale. I don't find this color in my stores here. We find like regular. You can use any kind of file folder or the hanging folders. This is a hanging folder. And this is the journal. I have digitals that I cut out. And like I said, you can hinge a book page, or you can do this sideways. It's where you turn your journal around and write in it. And this has a mixture of pages in it. So that's what I mean by a mixture. You can have anything in here. You can have dictionary pages. You have any book in your home falling apart. Because some people don't like tearing apart books. You use it for this. Like say you have a book that's got a ripped page and you're like, okay, and dictionary pages, kids book pages, anything like that are perfect for these type of journals because there's no cuss words in them. So if a person wants one that's PG to make for their child, like say you want to journal a story about your baby to share with them later, because I know some moms like getting journals for their kids with their names on them and stuff like that. You can do that and make sure the type of books you pick, you know, educational books that people don't want. You can find those at yard sales, college books, anything like that. You're not going to have cuss words or anything bad in them, so they can be used in children's books. And if they got words on them, they could be turned into like picture pages, collage pages. I love stuff like this. I think it's cool. I need to bring my glue book up here when I get the chance, because I have a glue book I started and it's fun too. Thank you, squirrels. Hey, Gemma. Hey, Joe. Joe Gapey. All right, Cherise, hurry back. Hey, Ja. How's that new baby? But I took a break, and if you ever see me put a video on Wednesdays, it's because I won't be going live. That's how you know I won't be doing lives on Wednesdays if you see me post a video, because I fill it in. Either if I'm sick or something, that's what I usually do. I'm doing great, Jimmy. How are you doing? Beautiful. And yes, I started. I won't be able to do it. I mean, I didn't know if you wanted your journal for Christmas or if you want it anytime, Jimmy, because I'm in the middle of a bunch of stuff I'm trying to get done last minute. I was sick and then my husband had vacation off, but I started getting the supplies to do a journal for you. Just so you know, I did not forget. So, I was hoping to have a Christmas one because poor Vin, he wanted to buy one from me for his mom. But I don't know if I'm going to have one done in time for Christmas because I'm just so backed up. So, we shall see. So then what I do with this one is I'm going to use it as a template type thing to cut around. So I don't have, I mean, you can measure and cut on that cutter that I showed you, but I also do it this way. I just put the pieces up to another piece and just cut around it. And I use this to help me measure. This is the way I do it to make it look junky. You can even do deckled edges if you have a ruler to tear. They even have rulers that gives you deckled edges. And what I mean by deckled edges is if you've ever looked at an old book and you turn it sideways and you see like a ripple where the pages are when the book closes, if people even notice that stuff. But when a book closes, sometimes you'll see like a ripple. That's what deckled edges means. Newer books are usually smooth. It's the older books that usually have the deckled edges. So, you know, I'm not the straightest cutter in the world, and that's okay too, because I want this journal to look junky. So then it'll fold right up inside of this one. Might be a little bigger because I did the edges, but look. See how nice that looks? Now, I will not do these all coffee dyed papers. I'll probably put a mixture in here, but this is just to get the journal started. I usually do about, I don't know, anywhere to like 5 or more in a journal, because you got to remember when you fold it in half, you're going to have double. So for 5 pages, you're going to have 10. And you can do them different sizes. Like, I'm trying to find some stuff around me. I'll just use this as an example. This is like a return envelope for HP ink. You can bend anything. It could be smaller, up in there, down. And this is what you call an eclectic journal, when your pages are different sizes and different styles. And you can even take bags, like card bags or treat bags, fold them, cut the bottom off, and use it as a tuck spot. And same on this side. You turn into side tucks when you do it like this. So there's so many things you can do when you're creating your journals. It's amazing. Let me see here. It's funny that I got thousands of papers in my house, but when I go to look for paper, I can't find any. When I'm trying to demonstrate. But you get the gist. You can even take paper half the size. Let's try. Okay, I picked this out earlier. This is a lace page. And I did this in my last journal, which this will go over a darker color. But before you sew these in, you can wrap this around and make a lace pocket. You can glue it, and it'll be on this side and this side, and turn it into a pocket. And that's how I did this one. Is when you open it, this is how it turns out. You glue it here and across the bottom, and it comes out on the other side of this page. And then you have 2 pockets to tuck stuff in to decorate your journal. So those are my lacy pockets. You can do them in different colors. And this is what's nice if you have curtains. And say you have green curtains or blue curtains hanging in your bathroom. One gets a hole in it. Don't cut them, throw them away. I mean, cut them up and turn them into stuff like these. And you can make pockets for journals. And that's what junk journals are all about. Things that you want to throw in the garbage too. But my journals are kind of a cross between crafty journals and junk journals, because not everybody has dyed paper laying around their house. They don't coffee dye. If you have a notebook you're not finished with, that has 3 pages left in it, use that. Anything laying around can be turned into a page. So that's what makes junk journals nice. But I'm kind of in the middle because true junk journalers don't want to use anything bought. And then your scrapbookers kind of crossed into the junk journaling community and they like the new paper lines. So I call my journals kind of like craft junk journals because they're crafty with new stuff, but then they have junky stuff in them too. So that's kind of my definition. I don't think I've ever truly made a junk journal because I can't have a journal without something bought in it. I mean, you buy your glue and stuff like that, but you know what I mean, like crafty papers. So that's kind of some of the ideas you can use. And some of the crafters on here, they sell these, they do the cutting and everything for you. And when you go to sales like Michelle Scott's Stock Your Stash, they'll give you like a yard or two or how many ever yards you want. Sometimes she sells a crafty bag full of snippets, like all different kinds of laces. And that's how you build up your stuff if you don't want to take the time to cut everything. All right. Thank you, Jem. Favorite food? Hey, Metro. Metro Sonic in the house. Metro's so nice. And his girlfriend and him are so sweet together. I don't know about favorite food, but I could give you my favorite dinner. My favorite dinner, Joe, is if I could pick anything, I like cube steak, mashed potatoes, gravy, and whole kernel corn. That's my favorite meal of all time. I'll take that for a birthday meal any day. Yay, Jem! And Jem's challenging me because she wants me to do an autistic journal, which is something I have not done. So she will get my first one. She's really challenging me. I was trying to get some ideas. Google's not the best place sometimes. And what I come across when I typed in how to make an autistic journal, Gemma, and I'm hoping to change that if I get enough people on board. We need to have more people make journals like this so that it gets out there more in Google search. Because the Google search, what it came up with and gave me was a mom who created a journal for her autistic daughter. You know what I mean? Like it was for the mom to keep track, not for an autistic person to keep track. So this is really exciting to me to be able to figure this out because this is not a common type of journal. And I like Gemma because she challenges people to do more things towards autistic people, to stand up for their rights, to know the difference between autism and then people just sticking them in a whole category that doesn't belong to them. So to me, crafting for somebody like this is going to be so cool because it's a challenge. I have no clue what I'm going to come up with, so it's going to be just as much a surprise to you as it's going to be to me, Gemma. So this is interesting. I did have a lady one time who came into my bookstore, and she did have an autistic daughter who was not high functioning. And one of the things she asked me, I had no clue what she was talking about, but she made me learn because she said, I go, what do you mean? Like what type of book? And she said the kind of book she was looking for was all cloth. And it was the kind that was almost like, I don't want to say like a pillow, but like squishy with colorful pictures and things like that. I had none of those books in my store, Gemma, but when I looked it up, I was impressed because I had never heard of these books. And it's nice when, bookstore owners or anybody for that matter can pull up stuff to help other people in their community, because I like to be a rounded type of store. I don't want to just cater to a specific type of person. Like, I don't want to just, cater to just readers. Some people learn by pictures without words. And that's kind of like where me and my husband are different because when we put stuff together, like for our kids for Christmas, I read the words where he looks at the pictures because he hates to read. So we balance each other whenever we go to do stuff, because it was funny one Christmas. He's sitting there and he's trying to put together, it was, one of those chairs with the chalkboard, and it was Disney. And he comes out and says to me, these darn Chinese directions. I said, Michael, it says right at the bottom, made in the USA. I said, don't even go there. He just didn't want to read. But you do need to cater to a broader audience. You can't be small-minded and think that everything you carry is going to be for everybody. You want to service everyone. So that was very an educational moment to me as a bookstore owner. And after she told me that, those books are so cool. The ones that she was talking about, I had never seen before. Because like when my daughter even went through phases with her daughter, kids chew. They go through the chew stage. That's why a lot of parents like the board books, so that the kids can't choke on pages. They like the board books. And then you have, noisy books where it's the fabric, but you can hear the crackly paper. So everybody doesn't like the same foods because of texture. And everybody doesn't like, certain things. Like, we're all snowflakes. We're all different. So you should find ways to try to help people who have a different way of looking at things or a different way of thinking about things. So I find this really cool that you're challenging me, Gemma. I was challenged by one other YouTuber on color because I'm a blue girl and I always buy blue. And then she asked for, I think it was coral and vintage I had, but I'm like, coral? That was a challenge. And her book was so much fun. And I was done, she loved it. Thank you so much, Gemma. That's because you're amazing, Gemma. And when when I watch your channel, I learn something every time I walk away. And that's hard to do. When you're on YouTube, sometimes you feel like, I could craft books only so many ways. You only do so many makeup looks. But when you have somebody that's bringing awareness, it's nice because you got to take away something from that person's channel that you have learned something new. And I feel like I'm always learning. I am never too old to not learn. And I love it. Because even my husband's side of the family, he has a cousin who's autistic. And it helps you not... And what I could not say not, but it helps you feel more comfortable, like knowing what's going on with an autistic person. It makes it easier to sit in a room with somebody when you know how to do stuff. This like, I will say the most uncomfortable moment I had in a room with someone, and I'll be honest about it, is a deaf person, because I knew no sign language. And I remember a girl that I went to school with, me and her were friends, and her brother was deaf. And I hate when I'm in a room with somebody alone and I don't know how to communicate, or I don't know how to talk to them, or he could read lips, which was a good thing because I knew nothing about sign language. So I can't sign still, but at least now I know a little bit of letters. But you know what I mean? Like, I think awareness brought to anything is a good thing. But I remember feeling like, oh my God, I'm sitting in a room with this kid and I don't know what to say to him because I have no clue how to sign language. And I almost panicked. And sometimes it's just a form of communication, That's why I said it's always good to learn, what someone else, how they have to live. so that you're able to communicate and stuff. I think it's cool. I love it when people gibber off in different languages. I remember when my husband was in the military, we had these two girls. They had a diaper changing bus and they're rambling off in some other language, but it's cool to listen to people that talk in different languages. Even though I didn't understand what they were talking about, they were holding up their makeup items as they were talking and pointing to stuff. But I don't know. I just think it's cool. Because I've never been out of the United States. So I think it's awesome when I see somebody from a different culture speaking a different language and stuff. I love stuff like that. But I just don't want to be stuck somewhere without a translator. I'd be in trouble. I'd be drawing pictures. I'd be like playing Pictionary. That's what I'd have to do. But I do love the game Pictionary too, because it teaches you a lot. But his sister, I told her, I said, I feel so uncomfortable because I didn't know how to talk to your brother. And she says, oh, he's okay. She says, he can read your lips. So if you had anything important to say to him, he will pick up on it. So that made me feel good. Didn't make me feel so bad. We're going to cut this piece down a little bit. Let's see what this looks like. I'm going to do about 3 coffee pages in each signature. If I've got to cut them down more, it's okay. Right now, I'm kind of doing the rough draft. So we'll do about 3 of these. So this will be the first set. Because I'm going to do 4. Let's cut some of this up. I never did get the tea dye papers. I was supposed to tea dye when I was off too, but I didn't get a chance to. If you want your papers a little straighter, probably would be good to use a paper cutter, which I might trim these down once I get them cut. I could use the paper trimmer just to make it a little easier. But for now, I'm just kind of measure guessing. Page. So let's do this as an outside page since it's kind of darker. I like that grunge. Okay, so there's one. And we'll do started. And I save those scraps for later because I'm going to use them for something else. So we got one there. This started right here. So if you're crafting along with me, I hope I'm making this easy to understand. There's the start of the second one. Do this here. It's all about getting your pages started and then what you want to add to them before you sew them in. And I think I'm going to use some of the digitals I cut out on this book. And then in two, if I find laces I want to use, I can always grunge those too. I know these are not all going to be even, but that's okay. Can we read the chat? Because I don't want to get too far behind. Hold on here. Spaghetti. That's a good food. I definitely don't need fiber, Metro. I don't have a problem in that area. Well, we shall see, Gemma. Oh, that'll be a cool job. Vlogmas will be awesome. That's good, Gemma. Because, you know, when you do it in smaller sizes, I think people pick up more information instead of trying to do it all at once. That's good. Look at you go. You're in a dance contest. Cool, Ohana. I hear you, Metro. Me too. Hey, Tuber. Well, thank you, Jemmy. Thank you, Funko Hana. Funko Popo Hana. I love her name. Hey, Tuber. Let me get you in here. Thank you. Let me see here. I'm still over here dropping stuff. Okay. So we'll do this page. Tonight, it's going to be about getting the pages started. And just so you know, if anybody's following along and you're doing this with me, I will be going live. I don't know what days they'll be, but I'm going to have to pick a day other than Wednesday for December to finish these journals. So I'll be doing like 2 lives a week instead of 1 until the journals are finished, because when I give my word something's going to be done, I try to stand by what my word is, because I don't want to let people down. And I got behind because I got sick. So I might be doing 2 lives at times in 1 week just to finish, so that you're with me. But the Wednesday night starting in December, if you are interested, is because of Sassy Sandy. She is bossy. Where are you at, Sandy? Come out of your corner. I gotta pick on her. She is bossy, and she says, I want those World War II letters, and you better read them. No, last Christmas, I was so blessed to be in a locker auction on YouTube. And I they separated the bundles. I think I bought the first set by itself, but there was another buyer in the thing that wanted the same letters because it's the same people. Most of the time when you get letters on here, they're, when you're in an auction, it's usually mixed with other people, or it's never the same people. That's all I have to say. And I have the most amazing set of letters from William and Elsie. And I have grown to love this couple through these letters. And they started out last December, to honor our military for the month of Christmas when they're away from family. It's just something that's close to my heart. I decided to read their letters, and I have his side to her. And it was before they were married, after they were married, and it was all from the World War II side. And it is the most incredible set of letters. It almost makes me wish I had her side too. But to hear it from a male's perspective, and these letters are just, I just can't explain what an amazing gift that I won at an auction. And there are a lot of them. Plus there's one of his friends writing and another female friend writing, and it's a mix but it's the same group. And so far, I don't know what's in these letters until I open them, and then you hear them as I read them. It's the first time I see them. I would love if in one of these letters a picture of them falls out. The only thing I have is a group of guys from the one guy writing, and so I know what one of his friends looks like to go with the letters to try to envision them. And there was a baby that fell out, but it wasn't somebody that she knew and sent to him because he didn't know who she was. But the baby was absolutely adorable. And the pictures are from the cameras when they were like this big and they were in black and white. They were the little pictures. And these letters are so touching. He writes the cutest poems to her that he makes up. And it's just at a time where this country has changed so much, and how people even talk to each other and the words they use. And, I can't even explain it. When reading these letters just shows how much respect people used to have for each other. Not saying that it doesn't exist with some people, but I don't hear too many people saying he's a golly good guy. It's the terms they used in the 40s compared to what we use now. And it's just, I love it. I love it. So it's really cool. And these letters mean the world to me. And I don't think you can put a price on them, to be honest. To me, they have no value. You just couldn't. I don't know how people auction off stuff like that, because I just feel like there's just no price tag. They just mean the world, that you just can't put a dollar value on that. But there were such respected letters, and how when there was a time they had broken up, and how he told how he felt. And it's nice to hear the male side instead of hearing the female side, how he opened up about his feelings. He's just an amazing guy. And she was an amazing woman. And I wish I could find out more about them. I did try to track them down and address wise. And I found somebody with kind of like her name, but the ages weren't right. But I don't know. They were out of California, and I couldn't find any information on it. But my goodness, I would love to know. In these letters, I'll find out if they have kids, I hope. Like, I don't know how deep it goes into their lives. I don't know if they had kids, if they became grandparents. It's one of those stories you just never want to end. I just want to read about this couple forever. and just hear their whole life story, because they're so amazing. So every Wednesday, my time on here is going to be reading their letters. Well, his letters. And at first I was almost kind of reluctant because in one of the letters she had left one of his letters on her desk, and he was mad. Like, he seemed like a very private person, and he didn't want anybody to ever hear his letters to her. And at first I was almost like, should I respect his wishes? But then I feel like everybody should hear their story because it's so amazing. Definitely an amazing love story. And he draws stick people. He was in the Navy like my husband was. My husband draws stick people with me all the time. And he reminds me of some of the things that we've, went through. And it's just so funny. Like this one letter I read last year. Hey, soldier. He talked about, if I keep eating your cooking, I'm going to look like this. And he drew this little fat looking stick person. It was just so funny. Like, he made his belly pudgy. And I was dying laughing. I thought that was so stinking cute. But he does like these roses are red, violets are blue, and he just adds whatever into his poems. And I don't know. I just really love them. And I did find the rest of them. Troy, I found the rest of those letters, and I'm so excited because I lost them when I was cleaning. And I found him again because what was funny is I had him in a bag up here, and I got bags everywhere. So I had him in a bag up here, and I took him downstairs, and then I lost them when they were downstairs. And here what happened was they were in a box and buried, and I found them. So I made sure, because Sandy says, I swear if you don't find them, I'm unsubscribing from your channel. I'm putting you on ignore because she's so into their story. It's funny. It's going to be awful when this story ends. But anyways, I said, okay, I'll find them. So now I know where they're at. They're sitting on a red crate down beside where my computer is downstairs. And I told her, make a mental note in your memo on your phone. They're in the red crate, Tammy, so I don't forget. But there's a whole bunch of them still, and they're tied up. Wait till you see how many. Like, it's just incredible. I bet you there's 5 more bundles like this size or more that's tied up in like a ribbon. And they're his side. It was her storage unit, and it was his letters to her. And it's sad when people like this have a storage unit and they pass away, and then families don't claim it, because that's what happens with some of them when they know the story, because some of them do. Oh my gosh, I just love their story. And it makes you want to know, like, Paper and Moose is another channel I love to follow because she's the same nostalgic type person with military stuff. And she ended up with a trunk that had stuff in it, and she talks about it on her YouTube channel. She actually got it back into the family it belonged in because she tried to track him down. And I know that everybody out there doesn't have sentimental value, but some people do. And I always thought, even if I could find, if Elsie and William had kids or grandkids, if one of them was nostalgic and they really wanted the story of their family member, I would love to give it back to the person whose family it belongs to. Because I feel this story needs to belong to somebody's, the family that they're in. But nobody did. Nobody claimed it. Sometimes the storage locker people know the stories behind the lockers, and sometimes they don't. Sometimes the people can't pay their bill and they come forward, and they will give them family photos and their private papers back. But then they sell off the goods, and a lot of people think that's cruel. But to me, I feel that when somebody passes away and this happens, I don't find that cruel, because there was somebody in their comment section of one of the auctions I bought off of, and they're like, this is just terrible and blah, blah, blah. And I said, why? Why do you think it's so terrible? Because if I passed away, I don't want my stuff to go into a junkyard or a garbage yard. I would rather, a landfill. I would rather somebody sell my stuff off so somebody appreciates it, especially if it's good stuff. But I don't see the morbid in it. I just don't. I feel that it's sad when it's somebody who's lost a job and they've lost their storage unit. I do feel for them people when they can't pay for it to come out. But it is what it is. When you put your stuff in storage, that's what happens. But yes, that's what I'm saying, soldier. That's exactly what I'm saying. If these letters, it makes you wonder how many letters like these ended up in a landfill just because somebody cleaned out an attic and they didn't have no sentimental history, or a locker was bought and the stuff was thrown in the garbage. It would make me sad to know that this stuff is sitting in a landfill. And I even had a YouTuber who was a seller. She said that it was so sad. She went to a barn sale and it was the family. It was the grandchildren of the people who owned the barn as part of a farm. And she said there was wedding dress lace in there. Like one of the wedding dresses was so old, it had fallen apart, and the next generation had saved the lace from the dress. And then they got married and there was a wedding dress in there with the lace piled on top. And she said there was a full wedding dress and nobody in the family wanted it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so sad. To me, stuff like that needs to pass down to generation, but it was the family and they weren't interested. It's like, some people were like that. And I was like, not me. I know. I would have stored it in a trunk somewhere and, had it like saved where it wouldn't get ruined. I would have it like in, one of them zip plastic bags with the wedding dress and stuff. I'm very sentimental when it comes to stuff like that. So I'm like really, really thankful. And I feel so blessed that I have their story. Because I just think, if they only knew when I read these letters, how many lives they touch, it amazes me. Who would have thought, a simple letter I write to my fiance and I've got people over here loving it. And I do have a mixture of another set of letters. These are going to be interesting because I haven't opened these yet. Now, these I probably will look at ahead of time because I'm not exactly sure what's in them. But I guess it was a guy in the military that was writing letters to women as like a dating thing. I'm not exactly sure what that means, but it's a bunch of different women who wrote him letters and he wrote back. So that's going to be an interesting set of letters. But I rather have a story. I'd rather have the Elsie and William story. And I do have a letter from the 1800s that a soldier wrote outside at night under a starry sky. And it is a beautiful letter too. And that was found in the right place at the right time. Me and my husband went around here and we were hitting antique stores. And there's a story behind those letters. And I had went into an antique shop and he was more into like, there was some old books. There was like old lunch boxes, old games, like things like that was more his style. And he asked me what I was looking for because I did get tintypes. I got tintypes in a photo album from his store. I haven't even showed that yet. And I didn't know what they were. I had never seen the tintype, and I had seen, or tiny type, whatever they're called. I never saw those before. And when I first saw it, I go, are these like negatives? And they were in an album with pictures. So I did not buy that. I left it sit because I wasn't sure what they were. And then I talked to another friend who was a seller, and she goes, you go back up there and get them, because she says you can't find them under $5 and $7 a piece online. And he was only asking for $1 for them. He was letting me name prices because that's not the kind of stuff he was into. He had this basket full of letters. And he said, why don't you make me an offer on the whole thing? I said, well, I don't want them all. I mean, I'm not the type, there are some journalers on here that will like to buy the envelopes empty as long as they have the address and the postage. I want the letters because I'm a letter person. So I ended up getting, they are old. And she explained to me what they were. And then, my gosh, wait till you see these letters that were in this thing, but they're a mix. It's not the same person. But when I opened up that letter, that was like, it's not really, it depends on what you consider poetry. He wrote, to me, it's poetic because the words don't rhyme or anything like that. And they're not like haikus and stuff like that. He just wrote his feelings sitting outside, being in the middle of a war and being a soldier. I have no idea what war it is because I'll have to look up the year. But all he did was write his poetry of how he felt outside under the stars in the war. And it is the most beautiful paper. Like, it's just eloquent, what he wrote. So I have that one. And I have, freestyle poetry. And I have like other letters from different time periods that's mixed in there too. But I left some of it because, like I told him, I'm looking for particular things. And if there's another person that comes through here, I want to share. I don't want to buy up everything, So I kind of left some of the other stuff. But I went through real quickly and picked out things that I just caught by eye and got that set. But I haven't even started those yet. But it's just, when I find stuff like that, I'm like, yes, I'm sorry, you treasure hunters can go for the gold. This girl's treasure is all about the paper. I could care less to find a chest of gold. Give me a chest of military letters and you're going to see me go, woohoo! Because I feel like there's just no value on stuff like that. It's, price-wise. I feel like it's sentimental value. Just like they told Floyd Wright. I don't know if you ever heard of him. His houses, when he was building them, all these houses will never go for any amount of money because your style of architecture has no meaning and blah, 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 blah. Can't put a price tag on his house. I got to go to Falling Waters. And all I have to say is if any of you travel to Pennsylvania, look up Falling Waters. It is the most beautiful home you will ever see in your life. He didn't do the standard way of housing. He didn't have it to where you leveled a foundation and then you built the house. He left everything the way it was in nature and built his houses to where nature fit into his home. So one of the rooms in Falling Water, I will give you a little hint, is a humongous boulder. He did not want to be moved. And it actually comes up through the flooring. And it is the most coolest thing you will ever see. It's right beside where he built a fireplace. And the house looks like the waterfalls coming through it. But it's actually under the house. And it is so cool because the way he did his structure is like, it's like a square. And this is how his house was built. I love architecture too. Just in case you want to know that. He took, like, for instance, we'll say this is a square. And he built each layer of his house like this. They crisscross so that you will see this side of the house with the balcony, this side with the balcony, and every angle you can hear the waterfall. It is the coolest place ever. Frank Lloyd Wright. This guy knew what he was doing. And I love it when people, our greatest creators on this earth do not follow the rules. The rules of architecture or the rules of photography. It's all the accidents that happen that makes it better. And I'll show you on my phone. It probably won't come out clear, but I'll show you what the house looks like. So that you get a gist of what I'm talking about. Let me get to the images. Look at this. My gosh, I'm going to show you the fall picture. This house is beautiful in all seasons. Look at this house. See what I mean? He built it to where he didn't move anything. The waterfall's there, and it looks like it's coming out of the house, but it isn't. It's the way he angled. I just love it. I love it. I want to go back and see it. I'll bring it up close. And when you walk, there's like a little bridge to walk across. When you sit on the bottom, there's an actual door that comes out, and you sit with your legs hanging over, and the waterfall's right beneath your feet. Is that like the coolest thing ever? And he don't have cabinets. You know how like we have, cupboards and stuff in our house where you have doors to shut everything? His cabinetry is even amazing because when you go into the kitchen, it's like a long shelf, and it's hanging on the wall, but it's built into it. And that's where they put their dishes, and everything's open. Like there's no doors. You can see everything. It's just amazing. I love this house. This is probably my favorite piece of architecture in the world so far that I've seen. So that's a fall scene of it. And here's it where it's lit up. And then here's what I'm talking about. The part where your feet can hang over, there's steps. You go here, walk down the steps, sit on the end and hang your feet over, and the water is right below your feet. I'm telling you, Soldier Poet, it is beautiful. It's no, it's in a different area. Let me see here. Okay, let's see. It says Frank Lloyd Wright, Falling Water, 1935 to 1938. Bear Run. Okay, this is here. And it says, perched above a mountain cataract on a rocky hillside. You can't drive up to the house. They have a parking area and you walk a path to get there. Deep in the rugged forest of southwestern Pennsylvania, some 90 minutes from Pittsburgh. It's America's most famous house. See, I got good taste. I didn't even know that part. The commission for Falling Water was a personal milestone for the American architect Frank Lloyd Wright, since it clearly marked a turning point in his career. After his late career triumph, the 67-year-old would go on to create a series of highly original designs that would validate his claim as the world's greatest architect. The mid-1930s were among the darkest years for architecture. I've just never seen a house like this. I was trying to find, let me see if I can type in That's like on the history. So let me see if I can type in the address. Come on, give me the address. Ew, Google, sometimes you're such a pain. It's in Mill Run, Pennsylvania. It is 1491 Mill Run Road, Mill Run, PA. And I think there's a amount of money you pay to take a tour. Let me see if it gives you any information. Tours. No, don't want that. The page keeps popping up. Oh, come on. You just got to call the phone number. It's $32 per person. It says availability daily except Wednesdays, Easter mornings, and Thanksgiving, 9 to 4 p.m., March 5th through November 27th. And it's got children younger than 6 foot are not permitted. Younger than 6 can't go in. So you just got to find out. But it's been a while since I did it. But this was something I picked as an extra credit when I was in college. When I took art appreciation, we could pick something for extra credit or to just expand our knowledge. I could care less about extra credit. I just wanted to do something. And for music appreciation, I got to see my first ballet. I loved it. I got to see the Nutcracker Ballet, and it was beautiful. And I took my mom because she had never been to one either. So we went to see a ballet because I do appreciate the arts. And I don't know why nobody in my family ever did stuff like that, but I love stuff like that. So I got to do that, and I got to see Falling Water as part of the art appreciation, and it was the best thing I ever had to do. There was me and 2 other people. There was a girl and a guy that was in my college class, and we drove up together and had lunch together. Like, we stopped alongside the road and did a picnic type deal, and then we drove. It was a blast. It really was a lot of fun. That's why I appreciate life's simple things. But that is beautiful. And I do like, sometimes I'll go on Pixabay because you can download images that are copyright free to use them in journals. And they have a beautiful set of scenic pictures there of photography that people have done. I put some in my Paris journal. I like that somebody does something like that, especially for artists, period. If people just want a place to go browse, or if people want to use their stuff for advertising or put into junk journals. I love that there's websites where you don't have to worry about copyright stuff, because that can be a headache. I understand that artists want to protect their work. I don't have a problem with that part of it. But sometimes, like when you Google images, you can't just use anything like you think you can, because sometimes copyrighted images don't say they're copyrighted. And it's just a pain in the butt trying to figure out what is and what isn't if they don't have like a watermark. So it's nice to go read in the Pixabay and just get stuff, and you don't have to worry about all that. But I took some pictures of Falling Waters when I was up there. The only thing they wouldn't let you do, at least because this has been a while. I was back in the 90s. I was in college. I was in my 30s. They didn't allow you to take pictures inside of Falling Waters. You could only take pictures on the outside at that time, probably because they sell postcards and things like that, and they probably don't want somebody else making the profit off of their building, I guess, you know, because all the money that goes into the tickets and everything to do with Falling Waters is the upkeep. So, I mean, I get it. Not a complaint. Just saying. So we got 3 signatures started so far. And this will be the 4th one. So we got 2 pages on this one so far. We got 1 more. And then what I will do is add different pages to go in these to give it like more color and stuff like that to make it Christmassy. This is going to be kind of like because it's coffee dyed paper, it's kind of like a vintage colorful journal, if that makes any sense. I didn't want to do an entire vintage journal, but it will have vintage style digitals in it and stuff like that. So get this on here. But I'm going to cut these pages down a little better. This is the rough draft. So there we go. And then these inside each other. So before I cut these down, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 signatures that'll be going into this book. And then this is what it'll look like. See how some of them are not cut right? So I'll have to trim them. But this is what will be sewed back in once they're trimmed. But I got to add stuff to those pages before I sew them in. And that's how you start like a basic junk journal. I love the dark edges. I think that's so cool. And then the Paris journal I made, I did with coffee dyed. And this is why you also want your pages a little shorter, is if you go to add trim and lace to your pages, you have that extra room. You know, some of my journals tie together if the pages are shorter. All my journals are different, but I love it when the ruffle sticks out. And then I hang charms. I love this journal. I'm not a pink girl, but I thought this journal turned out really cute. Yep, they are. Yeah, I don't know. I had a couple people interested in this, but I haven't put it in my Etsy store yet. I'm trying to get some journals built up, and then what I'll do is a video of their completion, and then I'll put them in my Etsy. But I'll make an announcement when it happens. So that one's finished, and then the one I made for myself, that one will be up for sale. But this one here I made for me because I just wanted a writing journal. I'm not going to add ruffles to this one. I'm just going to leave this one plain because I like it. I like them all different ways. I love journals. I think journals are awesome. So on that note, we're going to pull this back out because I got some trimming to do. So we are going to kind of straighten up some of these pages. Let me get... I'm just going to use this. need a place to store my scraps. So I will save these. These are actually fun to collage with. And what I do is I have a box that I keep my scraps in. And no, it is not full yet. And once the box gets about halfway full, I will go back and look through it. Usually it's got just paper in it because sometimes I like using, you know, other items that are not recyclable. So I try not to mix them with my paper because you can't recycle like I don't know if vinyl is recyclable, but I know that oh, what the heck is the paper that you border in your kitchen? I can't think today. Oh, heck. Some of the scrap paper away just to get it out of my way. Card stock is recyclable and stuff like that, but oh, Tammy, I'm drawing a blank. You know what I mean. The stuff that you glue on your walls, like as a border in your kitchen. Why can't I think of what that's called at the moment? But anyways, that's not recyclable. So I store scraps from those and don't mix them with my paper because I know you can't recycle. But if I don't use my paper after so long of a period, I put it away. No, I'm not a scrapbooker. The only type of scrapbooking I ever did was digital. I was never into scrapbooking. I was in digitals back on MSN in like 2006, 2007, somewhere around there, because I still have mails from 2008 that I stored of font styles and stuff like that. But I started out with some digitals because we were making pictures for people's profiles on Yahoo and stuff like that. That's how I got into it. And but we could use anything because we weren't making money off of it. You know what I mean? It was more like for games and stuff we used to play on MSN forums, like checking in and stuff like that. Okay. So these two pieces of paper can go. And try this. I've never done this with this trimmer, so this is going to be a first. If I mess up the paper, I'll just have to redo it. I'm experimenting tonight. So we're going to take this page, that right here, trim it, and then see how much off of this end. I had family that was into scrapbooking. I don't know, it just never. I did photo albums and stuff, but I just couldn't get into scrapbooking for some reason. But I like seeing scrapbooking. So we'll use this one to do the next page too. Oh, I'm out of frame. Hold on. Okay. So since this page is the one I just cut, I'm going to use it as a reference to do this one. But there's people that use like envelope makers, like they make envelopes with different gadgets from like Fiskars and stuff like that. I rather get the template and make them myself. I don't use a lot of the gadgets. I'm very picky on what I buy for my specific tools, because I don't see the need for something to help me make an envelope if I can get it offline and do it myself. It's just some people don't. Maybe their hands are shaky and they can't draw, or they just don't have the talent, or they want the straight edges. You know, some people are picky about that. They have OCD where everything's got to be perfectly measured, or they just might be their preference. I'm the type, I don't care. Even when I cook, I'm the same way, Troy. I'll be in the kitchen and mess something up, and I know how to doctor it. Like, you know, if my gravy's too runny, add some starch, it'll thicken it. Like, I'm like one of those type of people. I fix it. Pinch of this, dash of that. Sometimes I measure, sometimes I don't. It all depends on what I'm cooking. It's just really funny how, you know, just everybody's different on how they do stuff. And some people, because they sell their crafts, you know what I mean? They think it's got to be perfect. Where to me, when it's called a junk journal for a reason. It's supposed to look junky. So to me, a junky look doesn't mean straight pages and things like that, but to each their own. I mean, it's not to critique the people that do like it that way. It's just everybody's different. That's just how I look at it. Just like everybody prices them different. Like, you know, you have some people, they think their journals are worth $300. And to me, you know, if a person wants to pay that much, more power to them, because they are originals and you're not going to find them in any stores. And I get that. But for me to charge something like that, it's not going to happen. I mean, if I had a journal that's lined with gold, I might think about it. But to me, I don't see why people charge that high of a price. I prefer everybody from every walk of life to be able to afford one of my journals. You know what I mean? If there's a single mom out there and she wants a journal for her kid, I'm not going to charge her money like that for a journal. I want everybody to have one. So I will make exceptions for people that can't afford it, you know, and others. I think the most expensive journal I ever sold was $35. I don't even go into the hundreds. I don't charge for my time. My charges are based on, you know, I had put electricity. I mean, if you think about it, I put electricity from my stove to make coffee dyed papers. I don't charge for all that. What I do is I look at what the items cost that I put into it. Because my goodness, if I went by every little thing, people afford my journals. I just kind of give a roundabout eye over some of my journals, and I'll be like, okay, how much would I pay for this myself? Depending on how it's made and what's put into it. Now, if you have a person who, for instance, they're a quilter and they decide to make the cover a quilt, then yeah, you're going to pay a little bit of a more steeper price, because quilting's not cheap. The fabric is not cheap. How to quilt does not come easy to some people. So like I said, it's pretty much how the journal's made and what's put into it is how I eyeball stuff. Okay, so the first two. 1, 2, 3. Wait a minute. There's 2 on that one. Oh, because I got the cover that I'm using. Duh. We'll just see what this looks like first. So this will be the first signature. And this will be the second. Now that I've trimmed them. KTM, oh, there's the cover. I was like, what the heck did you do with the cover? Okay. Now that I've trimmed them down, see, it kind of gives it more of a straight line. I might trim it a little more this way, but as far as being in the book, they're short enough. Well, yeah, it'd be nice if I had it in frame. But see, this is still a little too long on the sides. I mean, I guess not. Maybe not. I mean, that could work. But I think I might trim them down just a little bit more. But that's how I eyeball it by the cover. I go by the cover of the journal itself. So we're going to pull these back out. I'm going to still use this as a reference, though. This is the first one. Okay, now let me read what you're saying. I have 2 Etsy's. One I haven't launched yet, but right now they're sitting empty. There's nothing in them. But when I go to put something in them, they'll be in my description. Right now they're collecting dust. And when you start an Etsy store, the best advice I give a person is have at least 200 items set as a draft, because Etsy will let you set them up as drafts. And then when you go to release them for publication, they're only 20 cents a piece. You know, I'm going to have a little conversation about Etsy and the crafters that complain about it, because it really gets on my nerves when people run Etsy down for their charges, and I'm going to explain why. And a lot of people don't realize they're not doing the math, and they're not looking at it in a common sense, realistic way. And it's really sad because, okay, we're going to take a step back for anybody that futurely watches this. And I want people to understand this. Web space is not free. When you have a domain, it is not free. So when you go to a brick and mortar store and you look at the individual stores that used to be in your mall, this is the best way to explain this so people understand this. You paid rent for that space, or you paid lease. Like, for instance, there was a store that set up that sold apples, like wooden things and craft stuff, and they paid like $1,000 a month for that space. Whenever you set up a store, it is to make a profit. That means over your packaging on how you put it in a bag and give it to the customer. That means everything. There is a business account that you create, you know, when you do your books, you have to separate all that like an accountant does, and it's all separate. What people really pissed me off, and I'm going to say the word pissed off because it does make me mad. They think everything should be handed to them for free. Now, if you own a domain like Etsy to give people space. You're not going to get it for free. You have to pay 20 cents for each item to post it. It will stay there for 5 months. And if it doesn't sell, yes, you lost that 20 cents. Etsy also has a fee after you sell something. It's a certain percent they make. But it's not that high compared to some other websites. I spent 6 months studying websites. And I know a person who sells eBay on eBay, and he told me himself, Etsy, you can put as many listings up as you want. It all shows. When you post on eBay, you can only post so many, and then they charge you. He has to pay $3,000 in rent. He's a high seller, though. He's not like us with this little itty bitty stuff. He's a high seller. So $3,000 is a hell of a lot of money. Okay. But that's what you pay for the storage to put your stuff up to post your listings. When you're selling like 15,000 at a time, that's still a lot of money. Etsy also, okay, say I have something up for 3 months and it doesn't sell. I have 2 more months it can sit there. Okay, I can edit that for something else real quickly for the last 2 months, and I'm still not going to lose that 20 cents if it sells. You see what I mean? Like I can put a special order up for Soldier Poet. I have a live sale, and I put a special order for Soldier. He tells me, hey, Tammy, I can't pay for the order because I was in an accident, blah, 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 blah. I mean, God forbid something bad happens, because it does. Or, you know, my hot tank blew and I can't do it because I had to put in other finances, and that's okay. When I sell stuff and people can't pay for stuff and they tell me they can and why, I'm good with that. So what I can do is, say somebody else was in my sale like Sandy, I can go, or wants to buy something from me, I can go into Soldier's post because I was having sales once a month. So keep in mind, this is for 5 months. So the next time I have a sale, Sandy wants to buy some, I can go in and edit Soldier Poet's all his information and take it out, put Sandy's name in a special order for Sandy, and I still won't lose that 20 cents because she pays for her order. Okay. When you go to Reddit, we'll use Reddit for example. You have to pay a $5 fee a month to post everything you have, regardless if anything sells. So instead of losing 20 cents, you're losing $5. Etsy also, at the end of the year, it gives you a page when you go to your finances. All you have to do is download it. It keeps track of your sales. Most websites, you have to pay TurboTax or something else. You get a list off of Etsy. The only thing you have to take off is the 20 cents you paid for each thing, you know, that kind of deal, and just make a page for your tax person. This is why I don't understand why people complain about Etsy, because it has the best deal as far as posting your items. Now, I do understand why the bigger sellers got upset on one thing that Etsy did. Now, I was only a part-time seller, so this didn't happen to me. But say you're on Etsy and you're selling like $10,000 in merchandise for the year. You know, you're bringing business to them. You're using YouTube, because there's a lot of people that uses their YouTube to bring their own customers. It's not Etsy bringing the customers. You're using YouTube as a tool to bring your customers. And I know there's a couple ladies that sell on there that did this. Well, Etsy took the choice from the seller and took the bigger sellers, and all of a sudden they decided to put something in their Shopify does. And if somebody buys $35 from your store, they automatically were given free shipping. I don't feel that Etsy should have that right. You as the seller have that right to change if you want to do 35, $50, $100. Because, you know, if you go to like JCPenney's or you go to Amazon or you go to any place like that, they'll say, well, you know, if you order $50 or more, you get free shipping. Well, they didn't give that as a choice to the sellers. They took it and was like, you're going to give free shipping if somebody buys $35 from your store. So I can understand why they were mad about that, because it shouldn't be Etsy making those decisions for your business. So to me, I do get mad. I do understand that. But I have looked, like I have really studied. And GoDaddy ran a special where, oh, it's everything for $1 for the entire year. Read the fine print, people. It's like a credit card. Oh, but we're going to charge you this much, like interest. So that's what I was looking at for 6 months when I studied websites. Amazon has a calculator that you can go on and figure, like me owning a used bookstore. I'm not selling used books for $8. I'm sorry. I'm just not going to do it. If it's like, I think the biggest amount I ever made off of a book in my bookstore was $20, because this thing was like this wide. It was huge, and it was ailments of women. And I felt like it was worth that much. Like, it better be a special book to be that price. My hardbacks are usually $3 a piece. You know, like Nora Roberts, regular reading. My, I don't care what the copyright years are. My, bigger softback books, so their size of hardbacks, they're $2.50. If they're the standard size, they're $2 a piece. Like, I know what my prices are going to be. But in order to sell on Amazon, you have to sell a book, I don't care what it is, at least $8 to make a profit. If you sell it for $5, you're negative 14 cents in the hole. Especially if you send your books to the Amazon warehouse and you have people, you know, they have people pick and sell for you, you're not going to make anything. And that's why I said I did all the studying, and you got to look at the math. And Etsy is the cheapest. It has a beautiful display that you can take your pictures from your camera, upload it to your Etsy store. They even have a little video clip now that you can add, and you put it on the site. And to me, it's just worth it for everything that you get back from them. And I've never had any problems with Etsy so far, knock on wood. It's been good. Sometimes, though, you have to watch, like, and you have to be on top of it. You have to bug them. And this part I didn't like. There was a set of survivalist books that I posted in the Facebook Marketplace, and there was a Canadian that wanted them. And I had number 15 missing out of that book set. I didn't have it. All right, Sandy, you just leave me. The guy, wait a minute, give Sandy her hug. Sweet dreams, Sandy. The guy that bought him off of me, the shipping was high. Okay. So one thing you definitely want to do when you start your Etsy store is have a little bit of money, and you want to at least have a couple $100 already in your store when you start. And I leave the fees sit there because they like take it all out at once. Like, after you have a sale, they pick a day of the month and take out what their percentage is. So I just leave it sit there until it's gone, and then I'll spend what I need to spend. I went to print the shipping label for his order. And at the time, I think I only had $100 in my account instead of $2. This is a lesson you learn. It was $80 for the shipping. Because of going to another country, it's going to be high. I only had the books, I think, The shipping was definitely higher than what the books were. It was like a 12 book set. I think they were $2 a piece. So you figure $24, and his shipping came to 80. I said, "Are you sure you still want these?" He goes, "Yes." He says, "I've been looking for them, and for me, it's cheaper to buy them from you because the actual books up here cost way higher than what you're charged." And so he was actually saving money, which is a good thing. He did his homework. When I went to print the shipping label as media, for some reason, there was a glitch in Etsy and it didn't take. The shipping label never printed. And I'm like, okay, so I hit it twice. Well, $100 sitting in there and it came to 160. It took me in the hole. So me and my husband were flying to the bank, taking money out of our main account to put it in my account so I got them to fix it, because I didn't want to have to pay that extra $25 payment. Well, I didn't know this happened until I checked my bank account. And I was like, oh, shit, because I didn't have the money to cover it. So it was awful. I had to print screen it, send it to Etsy and say, people, and they gave you 2 separate numbers, tracking numbers. I said, you charged me 2 times on the shipping label for the same order because it was stuck on their end. And I said, your shipping, it never sent me the label to print it. And you doubled my payment. So you guys owe me my money back. And I had to fight with them because you only have so many days. So I was on them every single day. I emailed them and said, do this. Always have extra money in your account in case this happens. Now, this has only happened to me once. And I've done a lot of orders with Etsy. But they did reimburse. And I said, and there's a tracking number there for an order that doesn't exist. So I don't want to pay the 20 cents. I'm not going to pay for something that's a ghost. So they did fix it. But you never talk to a person. It's automated by emails. And that's the only thing I don't like about Etsy. So I don't know if they've changed that, because that was when I first started. But I'm like, you are not going to charge me double. The guy I sold the books to, he was like, I'm so sorry you had to go through that. I mean, I was sweating because I don't like ever bouncing my checking. I just don't. And it just was like, no, but they fixed it. So it was all good in the end. Ugh. But sometimes you go through stuff like that, and it's not fun. So you got to be prepared. So my advice is be prepared. Always make sure you've got the money in your account. So when something like that happens, because it takes time to get in touch with them, time to fix it, and you want to have your butt covered. But yeah, Etsy's fun. You can sell vintage books on there, Poet, or you can sell antique books on there. It's mainly for homemade things and stuff that's older. It's not for like current, because that's not what Etsy was made for. It's mainly for a handmade site, like people to make stuff. But a lot of the handmade people were upset because you know how like you get AliExpress items that are real cheap from China. A lot of people are starting to post that in their Etsy stores, or really that's not what Etsy stands for. Like I couldn't do my books like Goodread on there because that's not what it's for. But if it's a book that's like from the 1800s or vintage, you can post that stuff in there. It doesn't have to be homemade, but really that's what it was made for. But a lot of the sellers are like, people are selling stuff in here that's not homemade and that's not fair. Blah, 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 blah. You know, you always have people fighting over crazy stuff. But people are successful on there. You know, there's a couple YouTubers you can look up. Just go to YouTube search engine and say videos on people who sell on Etsy or Etsy sellers. There's people that do really well. There was a girl on here that sold t-shirts. I think it was made like $150,000 in 1 year selling on Etsy. So, I mean, I guess you can be successful if you choose to be. Depends on I guess how much time you want to put in it. But alrighty, you have a great night. And thanks for coming in. Take care. But anytime I can help people, if it's something that I know about or have done myself, I like to share. You know, because I want to see people make it, especially the way our economy is going. Ugh. It's getting rough out there. Every buck counts as far as I'm concerned. I got to finish up my playlist of Sunny Fun Time mails, but right now I am done shopping. I got my craft room built up. I took you on the journey with me in my Sunny Fun Time mail playlist. And the only things I'm going to be buying for now, because we're trying to prepare for retirement and trying to get some debts and stuff paid off and things we need to take care of with our house. So my only purchases are going to be stuff that I'm currently working on. Like if I need glue or maybe a thrifty haul, depending on if I'm out looking for something that I'm working on at the present time. And that's pretty much all my shopping videos are going to be for a while. Because we had all of our appliances break down at once. Our refrigerator, dishwasher started leaking, refrigerator quit freezing and getting cold, and we had to replace some items, but we had that refrigerator for like 14 years, so it definitely gave us time. And our dishwasher was in this house when we bought it, so we've been here for 14 years, so I don't even know how long it was in here before then. So there's that. So yeah, when everything goes at once, it's not a good thing, but it does happen, and we're trying not to be living paycheck to paycheck all the time. We're trying to get some money saved up too for emergency purposes. We have a couple credit cards we want to pay down, and then of course your regular stuff like your cars, your tires, things that need replaced. It's a given. Okay, so there's that piece. And so now we're going to be very thrifty on expenditures. Because, oh my goodness, we about died the other day walking out of Walmart. We're trying to finish Christmas and it was like, didn't feel like we had that much in our budget. It came to like $415. It's like, what the heck? So we got to be careful. Okay. So as far as the pages are concerned, they look good this way. They're inside the book, but you see how they're kind of... So I got to go back through and I'm going to trim them down from top to bottom again. Because I didn't take them down far enough. Which happens. I wish I could do all the pages at once on this trimmer, but it would probably rip them. So we're just going to do I don't know if it'll do 3 at a time or not. Let's see. We'll stick 3 in here and try it. I'm game. Just don't rip my pages. Ooh, it did it. Okay, that'll work. Okay, then. Yeah, because I was doing them 2 at a time. So let's do it like this. Let me go down just a little bit more. There. It is pretty sharp. The little Fiskars I was kind of leery with because for some reason the sharpener on the smaller paper cutters by Fiskars is not as good as this big one. They tend to get dull blades because I had a couple and I wasn't impressed with it, and it almost made me skeptical to purchase this one. Because I was like, if the little ones don't work, what's the big one going to be like? But I'm glad I did because I like this big one. Just going to move this down. And it says it's self-sharpening. Like this is not supposed to ever go dull. So I hope that's correct. Let me do this. And this should be a little more. Let's get this back a tad more. Hold it. There we go. Yes. So now they're all the same size. Now let's see what they look like in the book. And it's okay if they're like halfway. I want them to be, that's good, down in there. See, that looks real good on both sides. So when you sew them in, you don't have to worry. It's like right on how the book has the outline of color right here. They lay like, see how it frames it? So that's a good way to eyeball your paper sizes. So yeah, that's good. So we got the paper cuts as far as the 4 signatures are. And then what I will do is run, let's see here. I just got my Instant in. Oh my goodness, we even looked at those. They charge like 50 to 70 bucks a cartridge. And mine, I only pay through Instant. I pay like $3.99 or something like that for 50 pages on 2 printers. It is so much cheaper on Instant. And I was looking in Walmart too. So we'll set that in there. Now I probably won't use all these pieces because there's some that are way too skinny, but I'm still going to stick them in my scraps. And I'll go through them and downsize later. Because I do recycle, so those are going recycling. Excuse me. So we'll put this here. And then talking about my handy dandy printer. Let me grab this fabric and lace. Put this to the side right now. Gotta move it out of my way because it's in front of my printer. This goes back out. Dropsy, dropsy. Oh, come on, Tammy. Quit dropping stuff. This is ridiculous. Okay. Put that up there because that's going to go back out there. I got to make sure. Some of this stuff. I have cardstock loaded in my printer. Hold on. I got the paper. And I need cardstock. So let me grab these. There's only 4 pieces here, but that'll be good. Okay. I forgot to bring, or no, here's more. Because I just bought some cardstock. Just need to bring it in here. Okay, I'm going to need, this will work. Alrighty. And that's another thing, people, when you buy a printer, make sure it says it prints on cardstock because not all printers do. And come on, get in there. Okay. Now we are going to run off. Oh, let's see. We will do 2. Of these both sides. And 2 of these sides. So you're going to hear my printer. And I like doing cardstock like on the outside sometimes. And on the inside, if I don't have like magazine pages or something cut out with pictures, because it's really cute to do that here too. This year, I think I'm going to do a little different. I have pages I can go through, but I'm not going to use it in this particular journal because I didn't take time. I'm behind. So I need to make up a stash to pluck from for different holidays. So I'll wait till these print off, and I'm probably going to do maybe I'll do like red, green, red, and green on the outside. And we'll figure out what to do on this part. Now, when I do journals, specifically if they're Christmassy, I use my journal for the whole month of December. And I put the cardstock here so that I can do like pictures, almost like a scrapbook type thing as I'm journaling along. On the inside, if I have like a magazine page at Christmas or something, I might like it being decorative, or maybe something with a pattern to where I can use this for pictures and write on the rest of it. Because what I do is I'll do pictures of my grandkids, like on these pages, and then in between I do the writing. It just all depends on how the journal's done. Because sometimes if it's got like a lacy look and it might be a paper pad you buy, those are really cool to have as borders for pictures. Look how pretty this red is. I think red is the hardest color to dye. So what I did for these, and I will share my tips. If you want a specific color and you cannot find the paper out there, like when you're shopping, because I know places like Office Max, sometimes their papers can be expensive. This is just a tip. You can type in whatever color tissue paper you're looking for. White, red, green. This is what this is. This is an image of tissue paper. So what I did was I saved the image of the color and then I print them. And it's so much easier sometimes than trying to find the color you're looking for when you're out shopping. It's easier to find the image and make it the color you're looking for. And right now I have like 125 rollover pages downstairs because I don't always run 50 off. You figure monthly I have 100, I only pay $3.95 for Instant Ink. And what you don't use, it rolls over to a certain point. Now they won't continue to pile up to 500 pages if you don't use them, because you don't want your ink to go bad either. They only give you so much, and then they won't roll over anymore. So you do have to print when you do the Instant Ink. And that's one thing nice about journals, or say you got family members that have things, maybe they don't have printers. I have people in my family that don't even like computers, so because they're up in age. So they'll say, can you print me this or can you print me that? So I do that for people too, to help use up some of my ink. That helps. Because most of the time, if you go to the library and stuff, they charge to do it. I do it for free. I just give it to them. And this is the green tissue paper that I found an image of. And then all I have to do is lay these back in my printer, color side up, because this printer here is not, you don't feed it from the back down. It rolls up around. Up here, I have two different styles of printer. So what I'll do is I'll put them this side up and reprint it the same color on both sides. Or you could do the opposite. I can do red on one side and green on the other if you want to do it that way. But I'm going to do it the same color on both sides. Or you can leave it white. So I'm going to put these back in and print the other sides the same color. So we're going to do, come on. No. print, 2 reds, should put trees in there, right? Yeah. Okay, we'll have 2 reds and then 2 greens again. These are so crunchy. I love the color or the crunch. I like crunch. My dog's so funny. I have a toy for her that squeaks and crunches. It's so funny when she chews on it because I'll hear it both. She makes it squeak and crunch, especially when we're rating a good movie. You know how animals are. They're like, no, give me attention. You can't possibly want to watch that movie. Is there anybody left in here? Hello? Nobody's typing anything. Thank you for the 15 thumbs up and for coming into the stream. And of course, when I bend these, I'm going to have to cut them down to the size that these are. So I'm going to take out one set of these and set it to the side. And we're going to put this down here. And we're going to take this and, oh, that is so saturated. I love it. And we're going to bend it. Hi, Ron. Where's my puppy? Daddy home? Is Daddy home, Ron? Oh, is he here? She'll get him. Get him, Ron. Sick him. She's like, woof, woof. So there's one. Color number 2 is coming. And we will fold this. And then I'm going to pull up my cutter. And we're going to take this back again. And make this even. This up. Line it up. Scoot it back. Make sure it's right there to the line. And cut. And then the side. And lay it down. We're going to do it again. And then this will be the first cover with those in the center. So that will be the first set. And then second set is green. Take and line this up. Put it in here. Take it back. To where this is even. Push that up. Same long ways. This will be the second one. See how that works out? That's why I like using the pages to measure. And then we will do this one. Again. Come down here. Here. Do it again. And then the last one will be green again. There. And then here. And then this will go in the green one. And voila! We have our signatures. Red, and green for Christmas. Love that. And then in the meantime, I will have to find some other pages to go into these since I got behind. And I will have to come on and do lives at another time to get this process done. And then I have another live or another journal I'm working on kind of behind the scenes. And I'll do a flip through that later. But that is it for now. Tonight. And then I'll have to pull out the digitals. Yeah, there's my little pal below my table so I can pluck from it. But that looks good so far. It is looking good. I like it. And once they're sewn in, it'll look even better. But like a half an inch from the top and a half an inch up from the bottom. Like you want to give yourself some space in your journals like that. So you have room if one's a little higher than the other. Because mine are never perfectly sewn in either. But I like it. And this also gives room if I want to add ruffles. Because it doesn't hang over. So you can give the ruffles if you want to. I don't know what I'm going to do with this one. We're creating it together. So it's whatever comes in my head to add. It's kind of like just, you don't think about it. You just do it. So there you go. There is the beginning of the hard journal. I don't know if I'm going to finish a second one on this one. We'll just concentrate on this one since I did get one other one done already. That could be saved for next year. Who knows? But if you didn't get to see how I made this journal out of the other half of that, it's in my other lives, how I did this one. So there you go. You got a file folder one this time, and you got a hardback this time. So with that, whatever time zone you're in, I hope you're having a great time wherever you are. Thank you for spending time with me. Thank you for visiting my channel. There's lots of channels on YouTube, and you pick to hang out with me, and I appreciate you. And if you want to create a journal, or if there's anything that you want to learn, please feel free to let me know in my comment section. And I'll try to help. If it's ephemera or the journal itself, just let me know. So you stay safe, stay blessed, and don't forget to build your pantries because inflation is not going away. Bye.